So I'll tell you a little bit about my teacher. My teacher was a woman by the name of Nina, still practices in Durban. Very well known. I don't know well known. She doesn't publicize herself that much, but she has an international clientele. I know she travels between South Africa and London twice, 3 times a year. She does readings all over. She does postals. And she's been doing this for ever since she came out to South Africa as a young girl of, I think, 16. She went for lessons apparently with Lee Weller Ferns. And, well, there's a huge difference between Nina and Lee Ferns. Anyway, Nina is a brilliant astrologer. I sometimes wonder to what degree she's actually psychic. Because to be quite honest, things that she sees in a chart, I can't see. I've often said to Nina, but Nina, how do you see that? And she says, it's there in the chart. And I say, impossible. You can't tell that, well, I suppose you can if you know astrology that well, that somebody's going to meet two people. The one's going to have brown hair and the other one's going to have blonde hair. Nina can see that. But anyway, if anybody wants Nina's details, write me a comment and ask me and I'll send it to you. She go by the name of Astroscience International, Nina Townsend. Okay, so I've punted her enough. But she's a very good astrologer, and if you want a very good reading, I'm sure that she'll oblige. Anyway, when I first went to Nina, told me a lot of things that heaven knows how she knew. Maybe she's just an amazing astrologer. So you get people like that. I don't think I'm that good. But you'll be the judge at the end of this series. Anyway, when we get into it. So, I don't want to ramble on. I had thought to discuss what it means, and I wanted to talk about the notion of the reluctant astrologer. Let me tell you, I'm not a high-profile astrologer. You won't see my name anywhere. I don't have people banging at my door. I used to at one stage. I could have kept it up. I chose not to, and I'll tell you why. Most people, predominantly women, when they go to see an astrologer, there's a handful of issues that they want to discuss. I've mentioned this before. And I was getting tired of it. I felt like I was like a one-horse pony show where I had to perform and people would hold back and see if you could see it. So I felt like I was on display almost, like a freak. So I stopped doing general readings for people, only people with really serious issues. I know they say teenagers have issues, adults don't. Adults do. Anyway, and then I was reading for family and for close friends. Slowly cut that down. But I read for about 12 years all in all. I did enough charts. And I'll share some of them with you later on in the series. I'll let you in on a few. As far as I know, and I've never seen it published anywhere, I did the chart for the formation of the State of Israel, 1948, 15th of May, and I found out when the PLO came into existence. Well, I found the sun in Israel's chart is in Taurus. The sun in the PLO's chart is in Scorpio. The moon in Israel's chart is in I think it's Leo, and the moon in the PLO's chart is in Aquarius. So what does that mean? Well, Taurus and Scorpio are opposites. Leo and Aquarius are opposites. So what does that mean? Well, in mundane astrology, the sun obviously is the ruler. The moon is obviously the people. So of all the time in the year, and I don't know what the probability of this happening is, you have 1948, a country declares independence. In 1960, whenever, I can share the chart with you later, the PLO declare their charter, whatever, and just so happens to the degree the suns are opposite and the moons are opposite, meaning the leaders are against each other and the people are against each other. Share something else with you. When I looked at Israel's chart, I saw Neptune rising. Straight away I knew, based on an ideology, a dream, an illusion, if you will. So anybody that just, when you learn astrology, you too will see these things. They're not rocket science. And you have to read. I'm an avid reader. I buy books every other week on different subjects, but I had quite a veritable library at one stage of astrology books. I've been giving them away slowly. But there's no mystery. There's no mystery. In fact, everybody should learn astrology. Maybe not everybody's interested, but certainly there's a lot to learn. And it's not just the mind stuff. There's a lot of, call it arithmetic. But it's not even complicated. You should be able to do a chart in your head. You should be able to know that if somebody was born at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that their sun will be in the 9th house. And we'll get into what that means, but where it's positioned. On the right-hand side of the middle of the sky is the 9th house. Makes common sense. If somebody is born at midnight, the sun is under the earth. It's at the bottom in the 4th house. You should be able to triangulate, and from that you should work out the ascendant. So I'll just take my chart, Scorpio sun, born at 3 in the afternoon. Well, Pisces rising, because it's 120 degrees. Pisces is 120 degrees ahead of Scorpio. So straight away, and the sun is always 8 degrees further than the birthday. So a person's born on the 4th or on the 2nd, you know that the sun is 10 degrees of that sign. So you don't even have to look at an ephemeris, you just have it in your head. Of course, the position of the moon, which is very important, you have to look at an ephemeris. And we'll go through an ephemeris, and I'll teach you how to look up an ephemeris. But the celestial mechanics, any competent astrologer should just have it in their head. And that's not difficult to do. So this is more just a backstory. If you want more, if you want me to tell you more stuff about, just something I must mention. If you want to be a good astrologer, when you look at a chart, you have to put aside all your own baggage. You have to look at a chart with a clear mind. You can't bring any of your own shit into a chart. Excuse the French. You can't bring any of your own stuff into a chart, because then you're projecting your own fears, your own hopes, your aspirations onto a chart. And it's not your chart, it's the other person's chart. And when I was reading charts, I'd look at the chart and I'd often say to the person, look, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just reading the chart. You just take from me what I say, because I don't know your life. I'm looking at the chart and I'm reading it. It's sort of, in a sense, it means nothing to me. I'm not, there are no preconceived notions of your chart. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, and I'm just pulling out from all my accumulated knowledge what it means. So you have to be the type of person that is able to detach from a chart. I've seen astrologers cry over a chart, like they want to save the person from their fate. Yeah, the person that did that knows who I'm talking about, and that's why the Astrological Society in Durban, that was many years ago, crashed, because this person chose to cry over a chart. Oh, how terrible! How can I save this person? Absolute rubbish. We all have our own lives, and there's a very lovely Yiddish saying that you think you've got problems. We all put our problems in a hat. We'll all look for our own problems. You don't want anybody else's. So we all have a birth chart, and there's no such thing as a perfect chart. You know, one of the things we used to do was we used to, in class, with Yvonne Dyson, lovely old lady. Now, she'd kill me for saying old, but this was many years ago. She's a doctor, sorry. She's a homeopath, practices in Durban. Lovely lady. Yvonne, we used to meet at a church every Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday morning. And Yvonne used to stack one chart on top of another and another and another. And we used to do medical astrology with the South Node, nodal astrology. And she used to have a transparency over another transparency. We got so lost we didn't know what we were doing, but that's how you learn. You get into the deep end. You have no idea. But then you had computer astrologers who would just type in the date and the time and the place of birth, and they think, oh, there's a chart. And you'd say to them, so what time was the person born? They say, well, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're going, okay, 7th house stuff. And you find that they don't know the difference between AM and PM. So the sun is like in the 2nd house. And you say, look, a person born at 5 in the afternoon doesn't have a sun in the 2nd house. That's somebody born at like 4 in the morning. And they don't know the difference because they're computer astrologers. They don't know celestial mechanics. They don't know the positions of the sun and where everything should be. Okay, so we're not going to be computer astrologers here. We're going to be nuts and bolts astrologers. Thanks. If you've got any comments, write them at the bottom. Any questions, anything you'd like me to talk about, put them down there as well. If you'd like me to shut up, put that down as well. But we'll chat again. Cheers. Bye.